My name is Sarah Thompson. For 11 years I was married to Mark Thompson, the golden boy real estate developer who turned half of Austin, Texas into luxury condos and rooftop bars. The man whose face was on billboards that said, "Thompson Homes, built on trust." The man who donated to children's hospitals, spoke at Chamber of Commerce events, and posted Sunday brunch photos with the caption, "Nothing beats family." America saw the perfect husband. Our children saw their hero. I saw the man who was quietly draining our life dry while building a second one somewhere else. We met in 2014 at a rooftop launch party for one of his projects. I was 28, a junior architect at a small firm, still paying off student loans. Mark was 34, already a multimillionaire, wearing a Tom Ford shirt with the sleeves rolled up just enough to show the Rolex. He handed me a glass of champagne and said, "You look like the only person here who actually cares about the design, not the open bar." We talked for 3 hours. He listened when I spoke about sustainable architecture. He asked real questions. By the end of the night, he had my number and a dinner reservation at Uchi. 6 months later, we were engaged. A year after that, married in a private ceremony at the Four Seasons, with 200 guests and a fireworks show over Lady Bird Lake. Mia came in 2016, Liam in 2020. Mark cried in the delivery room both times, posted the black and white photos, got millions of likes. "My whole world," he wrote under Mia's picture, under Liam's, completed our family. That was the last time the world ever saw the real Mark Thompson. The first red flag was small, the way they always are. After Liam was born, Mark started traveling more. Site visits, investor meetings, closing deals in Miami. When he was home, he worked from the study until 3 a.m. Mia would knock on the door at bedtime holding her favorite book. Mark would open it, smile that billboard smile and say, "Daddy's busy saving our future, princess. Go ask Mommy." I told myself he was stressed. The market was volatile. We had 2 little kids. I'd quit my job after Mia was born, because Mark said, "You don't need to work. I've got us." So I handled everything at home while he built an empire. The money was always his. Every account, every property, every LLC. All in his name or in trusts I couldn't access. My allowance came via Venmo every 2 weeks, like I was an employee. When I asked for a joint credit card for groceries and kids' activities, he laughed and said, "Sarah, you're not good with money. Let me handle it." I started noticing the little things. Lipstick on his collar that wasn't my shade. Hotel charges on the Amex for client entertainment. In cities he claimed he hadn't visited. A second phone that lived in his car console. The one he answered only when I wasn't around. By 2023, I was keeping a secret Google Drive folder, screenshots, bank statements I'd photographed when he left his laptop open, photos of strange receipts. I didn't know what I was going to do with any of it. I was scared. 2 kids, no income, no assets in my name. Then came the night that ended us. February 14th, 2025, Valentine's Day. Mark had promised a family dinner. Instead, he texted at 6:30 p.m. "Emergency investor dinner. Can't get out of it. Sorry, babe. Love you." Mia, 9 years old, set the table anyway. She made little heart-shaped cards for all of us. Liam, 5, kept asking, "When's Daddy coming?" At 11:47 p.m., Mark walked in smelling like whiskey and a perfume I'd never worn. I was still awake, folding laundry in the living room. I asked quietly, "Who was she tonight?" He looked at me like I was crazy. "What are you talking about?" "The perfume. The 2-hour investor dinner on Valentine's Day. The second phone you think I don't know about?" Mark's face changed. That cold developer look he used when someone tried to negotiate against him. "You're paranoid, Sarah. I'm busting my ass to give you and the kids this life, and you're accusing me of cheating? Fine. You want out? Go. But you're not taking half of what I built while you sat at home." Then he said the sentence that lit the fuse. "And I'm not even sure Liam is mine. He doesn't look anything like me. We'll get a DNA test. If he's not mine, child support for him is off the table." Liam was asleep upstairs. Mia was listening from the hallway in her pajamas. That night I called a divorce lawyer. The same Sarah Klein who'd handled the Harlan and Bennett cases you've heard about. She met me at a coffee shop the next morning and said, "Mark is about to learn the hard way that hidden assets and secret affairs don't stay hidden when a forensic accountant and a court order get involved." I filed on March 3rd. Mark's response was nuclear. He immediately froze all joint accounts, claiming financial abuse prevention. He moved out but kept the keys to protect my property. His team filed motions saying I was unstable, that I had alienated the children, and that he was financially devastated by the divorce, down to his last $87,000 in liquid assets after bad market deals. He demanded a paternity test for Liam and full custody of Mia, saying I was unfit. The first hearing was April 22nd, Travis County Family Court, Judge Angela Morales presiding. Mark showed up in a charcoal suit, looking every inch the devoted father who'd been wronged. His lawyer, Richard Voss, laid it on thick. "Mr. Thompson has been the sole provider. Ms. Thompson has been out of the workforce for 9 years. Mr. Thompson's net worth has plummeted due to recent market crashes. We're asking for primary custody of Mia, supervised visitation for Ms. Thompson, and a DNA test to confirm paternity of Liam. If the child is not biologically his, child support obligations cease." Judge Morales looked skeptical but ordered the DNA test and appointed a forensic accountant to examine Mark's finances. Mark leaned back in his chair, crossed his arms, and gave me that same smug smile he used to give investors right before he lowballed them. He thought he'd already won. He had no idea that in 6 weeks, the DNA results would come back, the hidden accounts would surface, and the woman he'd been hiding for 3 years would walk into that same courtroom carrying his secret second child. The empire he built on lies was about to burn, and it would start with a single cheek swab and a subpoenaed Cayman Islands bank statement. May 15th, 2025, the paternity hearing, Travis County Family Court, Courtroom 4B. The air felt thick, like the room knew something big was about to break. Judge Angela Morales called the case early. Mark sat at his table in a navy pinstripe suit, arms crossed, that same confident developer smirk he wore when closing a deal. Richard Voss, his shark of a lawyer, had stacks of affidavits claiming I was emotionally manipulative, and that the paternity challenge was reasonable doubt, given Liam's darker features. I sat beside Sarah Klein, clutching a folder of my own evidence. More bank statements, more hotel receipts, more screenshots from Mark's second phone that a private investigator had pulled before he changed carriers. Judge Morales didn't waste time. The court-ordered DNA test results were received and independently verified by LabCorp yesterday. The report is sealed for the minor child's privacy, but the summary is clear. She looked straight at Mark. "Mr. Thompson, the probability of paternity is 99.9998%. Liam Thompson is your biological son." The courtroom went dead silent for 3 seconds. Then Mark's face changed. Not anger, not relief. Something colder. Calculation. He leaned over to Voss and whispered furiously. Voss stood. "Your Honor, We request a retest. There could be lab error. Denied. Judge Morales cut in. The test was court-ordered, chain of custody intact, and performed at an accredited facility. The results stand. Mr. Thompson, you are the father. Any further challenges to paternity will be considered frivolous and may result in sanctions. Mark's jaw clenched. He stared at me across the aisle like I'd personally rigged the swab. Judge Morales continued. Now, on to the financial disclosures. The forensic accountant, Ms. Elena Ruiz, has submitted her preliminary report. Mr. Thompson claimed net liquid assets of approximately $87,000 and significant debt from failed developments. The report finds otherwise. The judge clicked a remote. Screens lit up with redacted bank statements, wire transfers, and account summaries. Hidden accounts include a Cayman Islands trust holding $8.4 million in cash and securities, titled Thompson Family Legacy Trust. Beneficiary listed as Mark Thompson only. A Swiss-numbered account with $3.2 million transferred in tranches over the last 4 years. Multiple LLCs in Delaware and Nevada, holding real property valued at $14.7 million total. None disclosed in the initial inventory. Offshore shell companies funneling rental income from 3 Austin properties, not listed in marital assets. Voss jumped up. Objection! These are premarital assets and business holdings. Overruled. The judge said flatly. The forensic audit traced marital funds, including community property income from Mr. Thompson's developments during the marriage, into these accounts. This is clear dissipation of assets and potential fraud on the marital estate. Mark's face went from red to ashen. He gripped the table edge so hard his knuckles whitened. Sarah Klein stood. Your Honor, we move for an immediate freeze on all undisclosed accounts, full forensic access to Mr. Thompson's devices and records, and sanctions for non-disclosure. Judge Morales nodded. Granted. All accounts listed in the report are frozen pending final division. Mr. Thompson will surrender all passports within 24 hours. No international travel without court approval. Mark exploded, quietly, but loud enough for the front rows. This is bullshit. I built this from nothing. She sat at home while I... Mr. Thompson, Judge Morales warned. One more outburst, and you'll be removed. He sat back, breathing hard. Then Sarah dropped the bomb. Your Honor, we have a cooperating witness who wishes to testify today. She's outside with counsel. Mark's head snapped up. The side door opened. In walked a woman, mid-30s, poised, carrying a small folder. Her name was Isabella Reyes. She'd been Mark's executive assistant for 4 years, the one who traveled with him to site visits in Miami, Dallas, and Cabo. Isabella took the stand. She looked nervous but steady. Sarah. Ms. Reyes, how long have you known Mr. Thompson? Isabella. Since 2021. I started as his assistant at Thompson Development. It became personal in 2022. Sarah. Are you currently in a relationship with him? Isabella. Yes. We have a 2-year-old daughter together. Her name is Ava. The gallery gasped. Mark's face drained of color completely. Sarah projected a birth certificate, redacted but showing Mark as father, on the document he'd signed. Isabella continued. He told me he was separated, that the divorce was just paperwork. He paid for our apartment in Miami, our daughter's daycare, everything. He said Sarah knew and didn't care. Mark whispered to Voss. She's lying. This is extortion. But the judge had already seen the birth certificate. Judge Morales. Mr. Thompson, did you father a child with Miss Reyes during your marriage? Mark stared at the floor. After a long silence, "Yes." The courtroom erupted in murmurs. Judge Morales banged the gavel. "Order." Sarah. "Ms. Reyes, did Mr. Thompson discuss hiding assets from his wife?" Isabella. "Yes. He moved money to the Cayman Trust so she wouldn't get half. He laughed about it, said the prenup was ironclad. But since there wasn't one, he'd make sure nothing was traceable." Mark slammed his hand on the table. "That's privileged conversation." "Too late," Judge Morales said. "You're under oath now. Ms. Reyes is testifying truthfully, under penalty of perjury." Isabella looked at Mark, not with hate, but pity. "I thought he loved me. Then I saw the news about the divorce, and realized I was the secret." Sarah. "One last question. Did Mr. Thompson ever threaten you if you spoke out?" Isabella. "He said if I ever told Sarah, or went public, he'd ruin me financially, that no one would believe a mistress. But after the paternity test was ordered, I couldn't keep lying." Judge Morales addressed Mark directly. "Mr. Thompson, you have admitted to fathering a child outside the marriage, concealing millions in marital assets, and attempting to defraud the court with false financial disclosures. This goes beyond divorce. This is potentially criminal." She turned to the bailiff. "Escort Mr. Thompson to holding pending review of contempt charges." Mark stood. "You can't do this. I have rights." 2 bailiffs moved in. He didn't resist physically, but his eyes locked on me. Pure venom. "You did this?" he mouthed. I met his gaze without flinching. "No, you did." The doors closed behind him. Judge Morales recessed for 30 minutes. When she returned, she issued emergency orders. Temporary sole custody of Mia and Liam to me. Immediate child support based on forensic income estimates. $25,000 per month pending final. Full forensic audit expanded to all LLCs and offshore entities. Referral to the Travis County DA for investigation into asset concealment, possible tax fraud, and perjury. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Mark was led out in cuffs for processing, not arrested yet, but detained for contempt hearing the next day. Isabella approached me in the hallway, quietly. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't know the full story. I just want Ava to have a dad who's honest." I nodded. "She will. Eventually." That night, Mia and Liam slept in my bed. The first time in months without nightmares about Daddy leaving forever. Liam asked, "Is Daddy mad at us?" "No, baby," I said. "He's mad at himself. But we're safe now." Mia hugged me. I knew Liam was his. "He has your smile, Mom, not Daddy's." I cried quiet tears into her hair. The hidden millions were surfacing. The secret family was exposed. Mark's empire of lies had its first real crack. But the biggest fall was still coming when the DA got involved and the offshore funds started getting clawed back. The same courtroom. But the energy had shifted. Reporters now filled every seat in the gallery. Phones were banned, but everyone knew the leaks would hit by lunch. Mark was brought in from holding, still in yesterday's suit, tie gone, cuffs removed only when he sat. He looked like a man who hadn't slept. Judge Morales didn't let him speak first. "Mr. Thompson, you were ordered to surrender passports and cease all international travel. Instead, your counsel attempted to book a private charter to the Caymans at 2:17 a.m. last night. The attempt was flagged by TSA and the court's monitoring order." Mark's lawyer, Voss, stood immediately. "Your Honor, that was a clerical error by the travel agent. Mr. Thompson had no knowledge." "Sit down," the judge said. "Flight logs show Mr. Thompson personally approved the itinerary via email at 1:49 a.m. This is willful violation of court order. Contempt is found." Mark's head dropped. No smirk this time. Judge Morales continued. Sanctions. 30 days in Travis County Jail. Credit for time served yesterday. Fine of $50,000 payable to the court. All electronic devices seized for forensic review. Bail revoked on any pending motions. The bailiff moved in. Mark didn't resist. As they led him away, he looked back at me. Not venom this time, just hollow defeat. Outside, the Travis County DA's office announced charges the same afternoon. Press release headline: Real estate developer charged with fraud, money laundering, and perjury in divorce case. Counts: fraud on the marital estate, dissipation of community property, perjury in sworn financial disclosures, money laundering, structuring transfers to offshore accounts, tax evasion referral to IRS, underreported income funneled abroad. Bail set at $500,000. Cash only. No bond. Mark's team posted it by evening, but he spent another night in holding while paperwork cleared. The forensic accountant's full report dropped May 20th. Total hidden / dissipated assets traced, $26.8 million. $14.7 million in offshore trusts and shells. $7.2 million in undisclosed real estate, rental properties, vacation homes. $4.9 million in cryptocurrency wallets, Bitcoin and Ethereum, transferred during the marriage. The judge issued a sweeping freeze. All accounts, all properties, all crypto wallets. A receiver was appointed to manage sales and liquidations. Proceeds to be held in escrow for equitable division. Mark's companies felt the hit immediately. Investors pulled funding from 2 upcoming condo projects. Banks called loans on 3 developments. Thompson Homes stock, publicly traded arm, dropped 28% in one trading day. Isabella Reyes returned to the stand on May 28th for a full evidentiary hearing. This time, no objections stuck. Sarah Klein asked the key questions. Ms. Reyes, did Mr. Thompson discuss dividing assets before the divorce filing? Isabella? Yes. He said he was moving everything offshore, so Sarah gets nothing but child support if she's lucky. He laughed about how the kids would force her to settle low. Did he ever mention Liam's paternity as leverage? Isabella. He said if the DNA came back negative, he'd cut child support to 0 and use it to prove Sarah was unstable for staying with a man who wasn't the father. Even after he knew Liam was his, he kept the story going to scare her. The courtroom murmured. Judge Morales let it sink in. Sarah. One final exhibit. Text messages between Mr. Thompson and Mrs. Reyes from February 2025. Projected. Mark, February 10th. If she pushes for half, I'll drag the paternity thing out for years. Courts hate messy mums. Isabella. You're sure Liam isn't yours? Mark. Doesn't matter. Doubt is enough. She'll fold. The gallery reacted audibly. Mark, out on bail now, sitting at his table, stared at the screen like it was poison. Judge Morales. Mr. Thompson, anything to add? Mark shook his head. No denial. No outburst. Just silence. The judge ruled. Permanent injunction against dissipating any more assets. Temporary spousal support. $35,000 per month based on lifestyle and hidden income. Attorney fees awarded to me. $250,000 interim. Criminal referral expanded. IRS and FBI now involved for money laundering and tax crimes. Mark left the courtroom flanked by Voss and a private security guy. Reporters shouted questions. He said nothing. That night, the story went national. CNBC, Austin developer faces federal probe after hiding $26 million in divorce. Forbes, from billboards to bail, how one man's secret life cost him everything. TikTok exploded with stitches. Courtroom sketches plus dramatic music plus captions like, "When the DNA says yes but the offshore account says no." Mia asked me over dinner, "Mom, are we poor now?" I smiled. "No, baby. We're just figuring out what's really ours." Liam hugged his stuffed dinosaur. "Daddy's in trouble because he lied?" "Yes," I said. "Lying hurts people, especially family." The next phase was the asset clawback. June 2025, the receiver started liquidating. First to go, a Miami condo Mark bought for Isabella, sold for $2.1 million, proceeds to escrow. Then a Lake Travis vacation home, $4.8 million. Crypto wallets unlocked via court order, $4.9 million liquidated. Mark's team tried emergency motions to unfreeze business operating accounts. All denied. By July, the DA offered a plea, guilty to 1 count of felony perjury and 1 count of structuring, money laundering light. 5 years probation, 3 years prison, suspended full restitution plus fines, approximately $8 million. Permanent no contact except supervised visits with kids. Mark rejected it. "I'm fighting," he told Voss. "They can't prove intent." Big mistake number 2. The FBI raided his remaining office on July 12th. Servers seized, emails recovered. 1 chain from Mark to his accountant. "Make sure the Cayman transfers look like premarital. If she finds them, we're done." That email became Exhibit A in the federal case. Mark's world kept shrinking. No more billboards, no more investor dinners, no more second family. In Miami, Isabella filed for child support against him too. And through it all, Mia and Liam started smiling more. Therapy helped. School was good. We moved to a smaller house in a quiet neighborhood, paid in cash from the first escrow release. The final hammer was still coming, the equitable division hearing in September, where the judge would decide exactly how much of Mark's hidden empire came back to us, and where Mark would have to watch, powerless, as everything he'd tried to bury rose to the surface. Travis County Family Court, Courtroom 4B, now familiar territory. The gallery was packed. Reporters, a few former investors watching from the back, even Isabella Reyes sitting quietly in the last row with her attorney. Mark sat at his table in a plain gray suit, thinner, eyes sunken. No more Rolex, no more swagger. Voss looked exhausted. The high-priced defense had shrunk to bare-bones motions. Judge Morales opened without fanfare. "The receiver's report is complete. Liquidated assets to date. $18.4 million in escrow after fees and taxes. Undisclosed properties and accounts total $26.8 million as previously established. Today we divide the marital estate equitably, considering dissipation, fraud, perjury, and the best interests of the minor children." Sarah Klein stood first for my side. "Your Honor, Mr. Thompson concealed millions, fathered a child outside the marriage, lied under oath about paternity and finances, and attempted to flee jurisdiction. These actions constitute egregious misconduct. We request 75% of the marital estate to Ms. Thompson, full ownership of the primary residence, sole custody of Mia and Liam, and ongoing child/spousal support based on proven income capacity." Voss countered weakly. "Mr. Thompson built the wealth pre-marriage in many cases. The offshore trusts were legitimate business vehicles. We ask for 50-50 division, joint custody, and credit for child support already paid." Judge Morales raised an eyebrow. "Legitimate vehicles that weren't disclosed? Proceed to evidence." Sarah called the forensic accountant, Elena Ruiz, to the stand. Ruiz testified for 45 minutes. Detailed charts showing marital income funneled offshore. Crypto transfers timed right after arguments with me. Rental income from hidden properties deposited into Isabella's accounts. One slide showed a $1.2 million wire to Ava's future fund, Mark's secret daughter's trust. Just 3 months before I filed. Mark stared at the projector screen like it was accusing him personally. Sarah then called me. I testified about the years of financial control. No access to accounts, allowance system, threats to cut me off if I left. I described finding the second phone, the perfume, the Valentine's Day lie. I ended with, he tried to use Liam's paternity as a weapon. Even after the DNA proved otherwise, he kept pushing the doubt to hurt us. The kids deserve stability, not a father who hides money and lives. Mark didn't look at me during my testimony. His hands were folded tight in his lap. Voss cross-examined briefly, trying to paint me as non-contributing to the wealth. I answered calmly, I raised our children, managed the home, supported his career. That's contribution. Hiding money isn't. Judge Morales cut Voss off after 10 minutes. Enough. The court has heard sufficient. Mark took the stand next. Voss's last Hail Mary. Voss, Mr. Thompson, did you intend to defraud your wife? Mark, no. The offshore accounts were for asset protection, business risks. I never meant to hide them from Sarah. I was going to disclose everything once the divorce settled. Sarah objected. Perjury again, Your Honor. The forensic emails show intent to conceal. Judge Morales. Sustained. The witness is reminded he's under oath, and already faces federal charges for similar statements. Mark swallowed. I made mistakes. I panicked. I have another child to support. I wasn't thinking clearly. Sarah rose for cross. Mr. Thompson, you texted Ms. Reyes that you'd make sure Sarah gets nothing but child support, correct? Mark, I was angry. You wired $1.2 million to your daughter Ava's trust while claiming only $87,000 in liquid assets to this court? Mark, that was pre-planned for her future. You attempted to charter a flight to the Caymans the night after the paternity results? Mark, I needed to check on investments. Sarah, investments you swore didn't exist? Mark looked down. No answer. Sarah, one last question. When you told Liam he might not be yours, knowing the DNA would prove otherwise, was that to protect him or to hurt me? Mark's voice cracked. I was trying to win. The courtroom stayed silent. Judge Morales took a moment. Then she ruled. After considering the evidence of dissipation, fraud, perjury, and emotional harm to the children, the court awards Ms. Thompson 72% of the marital estate, including the primary residence, valued at $3.2 million, liquid assets in escrow, $13.2 million after adjustments, and title to 3 recovered properties. Mr. Thompson retains 28%, subject to restitution, fines, and federal forfeiture. Sole legal and physical custody to Ms. Thompson. Child support, $28,000 per month based on proven earning capacity. Spousal support, $15,000 per month for 5 years. Attorney fees, $450,000 awarded to petitioner. Mark's shoulders slumped. Voss whispered something. Mark shook his head. The judge addressed him directly. Mr. Thompson, your actions have consequences beyond money. You have 2 children here who need a father, not a fugitive or a liar. I urge you to use the time ahead for genuine change. Gavel. Mark stood slowly, as bailiffs escorted him. Routine now. He paused near my table. For the first time since the hearings began, he spoke to me directly. Low, broken. I'm sorry, Sarah. Tell the kids. I love them. I didn't respond. What was there to say? Outside, the kids were waiting in a side room with their therapist. Mia ran to me first. Did we get the house? Yes, baby. And more. Liam, does Daddy have to give everything back? He has to give back what he hid. That's how fairness works. That evening, the federal sentencing phase began to loom. The DA had upgraded charges. Felony money laundering, 18 U.S.C. Section 1956. Wire fraud and tax evasion. Plea negotiations restarted, this time with real prison time on the table. Mark's final supervised visitation happened October 5th, 2025. Family Center, neutral room, Ms. Torres supervising. Mia and Liam sat on one couch, Mark on the other. No gifts, no suit, just jeans and a hoodie. He started quietly. I messed up everything. I know that. I can't fix the past. But I want you to know I'm getting help. Therapy. No more lies. Mia, you said Liam wasn't your son. That hurt him. Mark winced. I was wrong. So wrong. Liam, you're my boy. Always were. I was scared of losing you both. Liam looked at him steadily. You lost us because you hid things, not because of us. Mark nodded, tears in his eyes. I know. If you ever want to talk, even years from now, I'll be here. No pressure. Mia, we'll think about it, but we need to feel safe first. Mark, you deserve that, more than anything. Ms. Torres ended it gently. Mark stood, gave a small wave, and left without hugging them. The kids didn't ask for one. In the car, Mia said, he looked different, like he finally gets it. Liam, maybe. But we have our house, and you, Mom. We drove home to the house that was finally, truly ours. The money was coming, enough for college, security, a future without fear. Mark faced sentencing in November, likely 3 to 5 years federal prison after plea. His empire was gone, his reputation ashes. But for us, healing had already started. One quiet family dinner at a time. November 18th, 2025. Federal Sentencing Day. The courtroom in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Texas was smaller than the family court, but heavier. Marble floors, high ceilings. The kind of place where futures get decided in quiet tones. Mark sat at the defense table in a dark suit that hung loose on him now. No more tailored Tom Ford. Voss stood beside him, looking like a man who knew the fight was over. Assistant U.S. Attorney Carla Reyes spoke first for the government. Your Honor, Mr. Thompson structured over $14 million in transfers to conceal marital assets, committed wire fraud by submitting false financial disclosures to the family court, and evaded taxes on millions in unreported income. Despite multiple opportunities to cooperate, he rejected reasonable pleas until the evidence became overwhelming. The government recommends 60 months incarceration, 3 years supervised release, $12.4 million restitution, and full forfeiture of traceable proceeds. Voss rose for mitigation. Your Honor, Mr. Thompson has no prior record. He has cooperated in asset recovery. He has 2 minor children and a 3rd dependent child. We ask for 24 months, mostly probation with home confinement. Judge Harlan Whitaker, late 60s, no nonsense, known for white-collar cases, reviewed the pre-sentence report in silence. Then he looked at Mark. Mr. Thompson, do you wish to address the court? Mark stood slowly. His voice was low, almost hoarse. I take full responsibility. I lied to my wife, to the court, to my children. I thought I was protecting what I built. I was wrong. I hurt the people who mattered most. I'm sorry. To Sarah, to Mia, to Liam, to Ava. I accept whatever sentence you give. No excuses. No tears for show. Just Quiet surrender. Judge Whittaker nodded once. Mr. Thompson, you built a life on deception. You used your success as a shield while hiding millions from the woman who raised your children and the children themselves. White-collar crime erodes trust in the system. Your actions caused real harm. Emotional to your family, financial to your wife. He paused. Sentence: 42 months federal incarceration, to be followed by 3 years supervised release. Restitution, $12.8 million. Forfeiture of all identified proceeds. Credit for time served in county jail. You will surrender January 15th, 2026. Gavel. Mark didn't flinch. He just nodded, like he'd expected it. As marshals moved to escort him, he looked toward the gallery, toward where I sat quietly in the back row. Our eyes met for 2 seconds. No words, no hate, just acknowledgement. He was gone. The news hit fast. Bloomberg. Austin developer, sentenced to 3.5 years in $26 million divorce fraud case. CNN ran a segment. From luxury homes to federal prison, the fall of Mark Thompson. TikTok and Reddit threads dissected every detail. The DNA twist, the secret daughter, the offshore millions. Hashtag hidden millions, trended for days. By early 2026, the final asset distribution closed. After taxes, fees, restitution, and child support arrears, I received $11.4 million in liquid funds, full title to the primary Austin home, $3.2 million value, 2 investment properties generating passive income, college trusts for Mia and Liam fully funded. Isabella received court-ordered child support for Ava, fair, separate from our settlement. She and I exchanged a few emails. No friendship, but mutual respect for putting the kids first. Mark served his time at a low-security federal facility in Bastrop, Texas. He completed anger management, financial responsibility courses, and parenting classes. Letters came sporadically, short handwritten notes to the kids via their therapist. No pressure, just, I think about you every day. I'm working on being better. Mia, now 10, read the first one aloud one evening. I'm sorry I wasn't the dad you needed. I hope someday you can forgive me. She folded it carefully. Maybe when I'm older. Liam, now 6, drew a picture in response. A house with me, him, Mia, and a faraway stick figure labeled Dad. He didn't send it. He kept it in his drawer. We moved forward. I started a small architecture firm from home. Sustainable homes for families, the kind I'd dreamed about before marriage. The money gave us freedom. No more fear of bills, therapy for the kids, vacations to places we'd only seen in photos. Mia joined a coding club and built her first app, a simple game about building dream houses. Liam discovered dinosaurs and asked for a fossil hunting trip to New Mexico. We went. No itinerary fights, no hidden agendas. One quiet Saturday in April 2026, we sat on the back porch watching the sunset over the hill country. Mia leaned against me. Mom, do you hate Daddy? I thought for a long moment. No. I was hurt, angry. But hate takes too much energy. He made bad choices. We're making good ones now. Liam, will he ever come back? Maybe someday, when he's earned it. And if you want him to. That's your choice, always. Mia nodded. I like our life now. No secrets. Liam smiled. No secrets. Just us. We watched the sky turn orange, then pink, then dark. No rush to go inside. No checking phones for texts that never came. Mark was released on parole in late 2028, after good behavior. About 30 months served. By then he lived modestly in a small apartment, worked as a consultant for small developers, no ownership stakes, and volunteered at a financial literacy program for single parents. The kids decided, on their own, to meet him once, supervised, when Mia was 13 and Liam was 9. A neutral park. 1 hour. He brought nothing but himself. They talked about school, hobbies, ordinary things. No big apologies, no promises, just presence. Mia later said, he seemed smaller, but real. Liam. He listened, that was new. They didn't see him often, maybe twice a year. Boundaries stayed firm, but the door cracked open, just enough. For me, our closure wasn't dramatic. It was the day I opened my firm's first big contract, a community of eco-friendly homes for young families. It was watching Mia graduate middle school, Liam lose his first tooth, without fear. It was realizing I hadn't checked the locks twice in years. The hidden millions were gone. Redistributed, taxed, used for better things. The secret affair became a footnote. Mark's empire of lies collapsed under its own weight, and in its place, a quieter life, a stronger family, truth that no one could hide anymore. Mr. Thompson's billboards came down long ago, but our home, the one we fought for, still stands, lights on, doors unlocked, hearts open enough to heal.